Okay, so I hope we are recording now. I guess we're recording, right? So imagine this is the wing of your robot. We're gonna bend it by using something that is often called a cage edit, using a cage, a bounding box around that allows us to edit whatever it's inside. In Blender, it's called a lattice or lattice deform. So what we need to do is to add a box around this that allows us to deform it. So that box is called lattice. So we go Shift A, lattice, right? Where is it? It was added where the 3D cursor is, so somewhere in there. We can't see it because it's too small, so it's inside the ear that I made for this example. So I can just scale it up, right? Awesome, it's outside now. So we want this bounding box to cover the whole object, so I can just quickly scale it on the z-axis, right? Maybe positioning on the z to be a bit centered as well. And there you go, right? It's fairly inside. From the front view, we can even scale it a little bit as well if you like, to have a little bit more room. So depending on how close it is to the object, it might affect it differently, right? So that's why we scale it like this. So what you can do is get to your wing object and then add a subdivision modifier, sorry, a lattice modifier, alright? Which is under deform actually, not under generate, because we're not generating new topology, we're deforming current topology, right? So lattice, and then we select the target lattice, beep, right? And now this piece has this, oh, already had one, I think I did it before, maybe deform lattice, right? And then select the target lattice, so it's there, all good. So now these are connected, right? So when I go into the lattice object, so no longer the wing, but the lattice object, and then I edit it, you can see that as I move it, it will deform, right? So if I move it on the x-axis, I can try to deform it, but it will never bend like a banana because we need more resolution in the lattice, right? So we'll be able to deform the lattice more. So what we do is we go back to object mode and then select the lattice and go into lattice property, so data property of that object, right? So remember, every time we click on an object, for example, a 3D model, we're going to have properties of that model, a lattice, we're going to have properties of that lattice, a light or a curve. Remember the curve? We can make a curve into a pipe by adjusting the curve properties here. So this is the lattice properties, right? It allows us to define the density of the lattice. So if I increase the W, for example, it creates a new lattice on that orientation, right? If I change the V to 3, it also adds one there, and a U on the other side, right? So for the sake of just bending on this direction, what we really need is more lines here, right? On the z-axis. So we can just add a few more, so perhaps 2 or even 3 maybe. So now we have a total of 5, and that's okay. And then we can now edit this lattice, and look, now what happens when we have more resolution? Perhaps if we select both and top by holding shift, move this on the x-axis, right? Okay, it deformed a little bit. Move these on the x-axis again, right? And these on the z-axis maybe. So now it's fairly deformed. We can, it's close to what we want. We can go back to object mode, sorry, select our shape that was deformed and then apply. So drop down menu, apply. Now we can delete this lattice and then apply a new modifier called subdivision. You probably already applied it to your own mesh, right? Add maybe 3, maximum of 3. Usually you don't want to go overboard, and then shades move, and there you go. You get a bent shape, yeah? Using the lattice to control that.